and welcome. You're watching Breaking Views with me, Sanket Upadhyay, the show where we get you all the views so that you get the complete picture. Now, there are two aspects to this discussion that we are having. Population control. Increasing population is a problem for a country, and that is not a subject matter of debate. But how do you control that population and what steps do you adopt? That has become an issue of raging debate. Law or not? Should there be a law or not? That is a subject matter of debate. Should this bill or a law come with consultation, greater, wider consultation? That is a raging debate. What is the real intention behind a population control law, the conversation of which is happening very publicly now? That is a subject matter of debate. So we are going to look at all the aspects on whether a law to control population can work as the only solution as being suggested by some quarters, or can it be one of the many solutions? You see, existing steps that have been taken are delivering good results, and then there is an argument, why do you need a law when you've got very, very encouraging results as far as the fertility rate is concerned? It is reducing not just in Hindus but also drastically in Muslims as well. Let's first quickly tell you what the BJP said. So a few days ago, Yogi Adityanath in a program said, population control program should be made a success. He says one community's population should not rise disproportionately. Giriraj Kishore of the BJP says the population law should be equal for all. Muslim population in these states have risen from 19.85% in 1947 to 27.01% in 2011. The BJP then says that the Muslim population will be 30% in these regions by the next census. Several BJP states are ready for the population bill. UP, MP, Karnataka, Uttarakhand, Gujarat, Assam, Tripura, all are in favor of a law. Then Mohan Bhagwat, in a recent statement, he has said, will India, and this was one of the things that was spoken about. He spoke about the population debate where he did talk about how individuals, eating and increasing population is the nature of animals, not human beings. We have a greater responsibility. So that is what he has said. He did not speak about a law or not. Now in 2016, Prahlad Patel, he introduced a private members bill for population control. However, officially, in 2019, population control bill was proposed by Rakesh Sinha in the Rajya Sabha also. But see, officially, as a government enterprise, the government has not introduced a population control bill. But see, a conversation around it is continuously happening. And also, the real intention behind bringing this law. So we are going to put that to a discussion right now, right here. Let me introduce our guest. Dr. Ami Yagnik is the Rajya Sabha MP and spokesperson of the Congress Party. Ratan Sharda, he is the author of RSS from an organization to a movement. Thank you very much to the two of you. Ami Yagnik, I want to begin with you first. You see, the BJP has officially, whether it is in the Supreme Court, whether it is officially from a party platform, never said that we are bringing a law. But it is affiliates as well as individual members who in their individual capacity are saying a lot about bringing a law. Given the fact that we have seen many indices where the fertility rate is continuously going down and dropping sharply in Muslims, I ask a more fundamental question. Do we really need a law?
First of all, let me tell you, Sanket, that I think we should not attach so much importance to the affiliates or individuals because they speak from their own, with their own mind and without any, I think, backing statements. You will never find any data or any reasoning when these statements come forth. And we also, as a nation, we fail to ask these individuals and affiliates how they make these kind of statements. That's the first thing. But if the ruling dispensation is thinking of bringing a law, I think the most important aspect is to look at the fertility rate, which has been going down. Secondly, instead of talking about a law or bringing about a bill about population control, I think we have to leave it to self-regulation and creating awareness. A government's job is that a governance model should be such that you enlighten your citizens with their responsibilities, with their rights, and how the government is going to fulfill their rights and give them their due rightful place. Now, self-regulation can come only if there is some kind of an educational awareness, especially to women. And I think this is missing somewhere. This aspect is completely practically under the carpet. Nobody's speaking about this. And we straightway talk about laws and bills. You know how laws and bills work. And we have seen our laws working in the past few decades. We have not been able to bring some sort of resulting effect or a finality to these kind of intentions or scope and object of these particular laws.
Sure.
So I would think that even when Mr. Sinha moved the private bill in the parliament, I did speak on that we are forgetting that we are not talking about talking to stakeholders, talking to the people who are affected by this. The law or the bill or whatever policy we bring is going to affect which section of people. We are doing neither of that.
Okay.
None of this is being done. And so I think that is the first and foremost thing, to have a data of the fertility rate of the country, not speaking about a particular section or class. We are talking about population control, or we are talking about fertility, and that is affecting human beings. Let's restrict ourselves to human beings and not take statements which are solitary in nature by affiliates or individuals who have no idea about the data, have not seen what has happened over the decades, how India has fared on these parameters. And so I think we need to talk to stakeholders, but the most important and the only important factor is to educate the people, bring about awareness, and bring about self-regulation.
And that will be a just solution to control population. Okay. Ratan, Sharda, you see the reason why this debate has come back to the fore, Mr. Sharda, is the statement by Yogi Adityanath where he says, ऐसा न हो कि किसी एक वर्ग की आबादी बढ़ने की स्पीड ज्यादा हो और जो मूल निवासी हों उनकी आबादी को जागरूकता के प्रयासों से नियंत्रित कर दिया जाए। जिन देशों की जनसंख्या ज्यादा होती है वहां असंतुलन चिंता का विषय है। Now, एक वर्ग की आबादी has instantly raised the political tempers. That here is a typical case where a law is being brought in to satiate the need for politics and not to look for an active solution for population control.
Sanket, thanks for getting into serious debate. First of all, when did the talk of family planning stop or population control stop? 1975 during emergency, when compulsory Nasbandi was tried, it became a disaster. It led to rout of Congress party. After that, no party has ever touched this topic. Do you think we can live with the kind of population growth overall it is? I'll get into religious issues later on. But if we can really manage that population, what is happening in the world, are we aware of that? And to say there is no data, I think you're just everybody just trying to wash away the real issue. For example, I have data with me which tells me that drop in the Muslim fertility rate has even now it is now reached to from 36 to 24.5, Hindus from 22.6 to 16.8, Christians to 15.5. This is real hard data of 2011. I'm talking about 2021. Census is still on. We don't know the report yet. Now coming to the real serious issue. What is the issue? The World Economic Forum says 47 million people.
Mr. Sharda, if you allow me, you can continue if you allow me. See, a lot of data has been flying around because the data that we have got from the government is that the fertility rate in Hindus is now down to 2.1. For Muslims, it was in the late 80s and early 90s at 4.4, has now come to 2.6.
I am talking decadal. You are right. I am also right. But there
exactly.
is still a
so
I don't want to do communal side.
The drop in the fertility rate for Muslims is higher than the Hindus.
Debate, Sanket, I will go for communal debate. If we want to have serious debate on population control, not what Yogi says, what BJP says, I am here as a person who is conscious about the issues of population control.
Correct.
Or population pressure on the earth. 47 million people will be on the verge of famine in coming 10 years. World is headed for food crisis, and demand will be rising by 60%. Earth running out of food by 2050. It is too big to feed after 27 years. World Food Progress says 828 million people go to bed hungry every night. 50 million are on the brink of famine. We have 4% of fresh water for 16% of global 16% of the global population. 150 million work days of
Sir, very kindly. My question is, how does a law help in solving all these problems?
Yes, now come to that. If what is educating the people about population control is part of the law. It is no more voluntary because we tried that. We simply stopped talking about it from 1975. So disaster of one particular regime of forcing something down the throat became the swan song of everybody. Nobody even talks about it. If somebody talks about it, let us discuss it seriously, not get into communal issues. That's demographic issue is different. I can give you 10 figures to show that yes, demographically there will be imbalance. There will be ghettos created, which will create a problem in the future. But today, are we ready to face the water crisis? Are we ready to face the food crisis? So if there is a little more push from the government to reduce the population, what is wrong with that?
Exactly. So a little more push by what means? Can education not make this change? You see the problem is right now, Amiben Yagnik, do you feel that an attempt is being made to position a law as the only solution to control population, whereas it can be one of the many solutions?
I think for the moment, what I say, I again reiterate that we should have a solid plan in order to see that an awareness campaign is taken right to the end, to the last person. And some kind of an education has to be given on this kind of issues. Women are the main section, and I think most of the interior areas in the country, I think nothing has reached. Let us not boast about things that have not happened. Second thing, if we are quoting the World Economic Forum and the World Bank data, then let us see the hunger index, where we are. And the gender gap, we are almost at serial number 135, which came out yesterday. So gender gap and hunger index. And when we are talking about water issues, I think Dr. Manmohan Singh last year said that we only have water that will last us for a year. The cities will go dry. So are we going to have a water law for industries, for the misuse of water, for not harnessing the water? So let's think absolutely objectively. Let us take into consideration all the stakeholders. Okay. Let us sit and think, is the law going to panacea of all these things? And individual statements, I think, should not be given so much importance unless they have a very foolproof or a solid 1, 2, 3 point plan for the population of this country. We are not talking about a class, a section. We are talking about human beings. We are talking about controlling human beings. And a scientific
Ratan Chadha, while you say that you would not want to enter into a he said, she said debate, but the point is that it almost appears as if public opinion around this law is being built like this, that it is being projected as the only solution. And that's my question. You forget the politics. No, is the law the only solution? Or
even
one
when
of the many solutions?
Starts, Sanket, understand the alarming bells. As soon as the discussion starts, what does OVCC or people like him say? We will not follow any law. Allah ne diya hai to Allah pet bhi bharega. This is the kind of argument that is going on. Even without any discussion. What will women do when they are forced into having children? Do you think education will help them? Only public education will help them? No, we have to have this a little bit of coercion by using laws which don't defranchise you, but which force you think that if I have more children, what will happen to their upkeep? Whether I'll get subsidies, whether I'll get any kind of support for keeping or producing more children. This is the issue which we have to face very honestly. Women are fine. In Hindu households, women have some freedom. But in Muslim households, do they have the freedom to decide?
But Mr. Sharda, don't you think that education and health can fix this? There is a direct correlation between educated people and well-to-do families and their fertility rate being low.
Yes, I agree. So
then is that not a better solution than a law?
That is the reason why people like Owaisi have a field day, because they try to browbeat the madrasa, studying people. They don't allow people to study in bigger schools because that is the way they can control them. So the education biggest of there in school itself, when you get a proper education which allows you to be an objective citizen of this country, not forced into some kind of Sharia law.
Make education mandatory.
So that should be the law. Into this. My issue is, why should you bring religion into this? But when religious leaders come and start making statements, even without any discussion on the population bill, even without discussing any population issues, is Owaisi or anybody saying that here I have a plan which will make the population rate growth go down.
Ratan, Sharda, as well as Dr. Amiben Yagnik, many thanks for joining us. And since Mr. Sharda has mentioned the word Owaisi so many times, we have Mr. Owaisi on the show also. He's the AIMIM chief. Thank you very much to the two of you. And thank you very much, Mr. Owaisi, for joining us. My first question to you is, what is your view on the statement that has been made by Yogi Adityanath and the talk of controlling population by way of a law?
Well, you see, let us go by what the government has said in the parliament and what the government has given in return to the Supreme Court. Let us not believe what you or me have an opinion about it. On April the 2nd, 2022 in Rajya Sabha, the present Union Health Minister, in reply to a private member's bill of a BJP member asking for a law on these lines, he said, let me quote that, there is no need for a Jabran law. This is what he said. And this is what the government of India said, Modi government said to Supreme Court in December 2020, if I'm not wrong, that we do not want to make a law on two-child norm. Thirdly, the TFR rate of the latest National Family Health Survey 5 clearly shows that India's TFR rate has come down from 2.2 to 2. The Muslim TFR rate has also come down from 2.6 to 2.3. You know, there is an ample empirical data. The same NFHS survey says that Muslims are using the highest number of increase in contraception from 37.9 to 47%. What else do you want? You know, without any need of law, the desired fertility rate will stabilize. In UP, it will come to by 2026. In India, it will stabilize by 2030. This is what all experts are saying. But BJP is hell-bent on creating this boogie and fear about the so-called myth of explosion of especially Muslim population in India. And that is why you see the UP's chief minister speaking this language of population imbalance, what will happen to the Mool Nivasi. This is completely wrong and obnoxious.
Now, Mr. Owaisi, you see the issue of population imbalance has been spoken about, for instance, in states like Assam, with allegations of a demographic change. So do you think that this is more of a political argument, or do you see merit?
See, let us not, I will not respond basing on my opinion. I will base my response on the basis of what the Supreme Court monitored, the NPR or NRC which happened in Assam. How is it that before the list came out, they were shouting from rooftops of Sangh Parivar that there are more than 10 million Ghuspaiti in Assam? What was the number of Muslims who are there in that list which are excluded? There were lesser number of Muslims. But the BJP says, no, we want another NRC to be done, especially in border areas. A Supreme Court monitored report clearly says that all this myth and lies are there, which BJP has created in Assam. Yes, you have TFR rate, which has not reduced in, as far as nation is concerned, in state of Bihar, Jharkhand, Manipur, Meghalaya. It will come down. It is coming down without making any law. The important point, Sanket Saab, is India as a country has this great demographic dividend which no other nation in the whole earth has. We have a population which is less than 50%, which is less than 25 years. We have a population 60% less than 40 years. What has the Modi government done to use this demographic dividend? This demographic dividend will not last forever. I mean, is the BJP government trying to say that, okay, we'll be voting in China? But is the BJP government saying that 1,000 square kilometers which China is occupying is because of the population explosion? It is their inefficiencies. You have not given jobs to this demographic dividend which India has, which no other country in the whole earth has. You know, what have you done? 60 lakh vacancies are the government of India. You promised every year you'll be giving, how many, 10 crores to 2 crores job you promised. Now you're saying in 2 years we'll give 2 lakh jobs. So BJP is just trying to create this myth and to create more fear and hatred about the Muslims in India.
So if you could elaborate, what according to you is the real intention when people converse on bringing about a law? And if a law is indeed brought, what could potentially be a problem with it? Because, you see, if it is one of the many solutions, then where do you see the problem with a law?
I believe that there is no need for a law. Let us not commit the same mistake which China has done. If you create a law, mark my words, there will be more abortions, more deaths by just because one will not be having a son. People will be going for all those means which are illegal. Let us not go on that track. How do you improve the sex ratio? And why is it that the Muslim sex ratio is good? Who's responsible for that? Can you take why won't the BJP take credit for that? So there is no need for law. In UP, we will be achieving the desired fertility rate according to the experts by 2026. India's population is stabilized by 2030. You don't require a law. You require literacy, you require employment, you require incomes to be increased, you require access to health services. These are the 5 important things which the BJP government has failed to provide.
I think that's an important point, because what are the alternatives to a population control law? For instance, we asked this question of Nitish Kumar also, and he says that better education is going to make all the difference. And those indices are available. We know that better education, better lifestyle leads to lesser population. That evidence is there.
I oppose any kind of laws if BJP is thinking, and they'll be badly exposed if they bring a law. You require, as you rightly said, I am agreeing that you increase literacy, you give employment, increase income. This will definitely bring down TFR. The TFR is already down, and it will come down. But BJP has to create this myth. BJP has to create this hate and fear about Muslims, that Muslims will overtake the Hindu population. Even if the TFR is at 2.6, it will take 200 years, mark my word, for Muslims to overtake the Hindu population. That will not happen. The TFR is on the way down, it will come down. BJP is failing in their governance. BJP is not providing the tools which India has for this demographic dividend. 50% population under the age of 25. What have you done? You have done nothing. You have done zilch, zero.
All right, Asaduddin Owaisi, many thanks for joining us. Thank you so much. We also have with us BJP leader Ashwini Upadhyay, and let me start by asking you, Ashwini ji, the same question. Is a law the best option? और कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है?
देखिए संकेत, पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल लॉ की जरूरत है कि नहीं है, इसको समझने के लिए पहले हमें ये देखना पड़ेगा कि हमारे पास कितना नेचुरल रिसोर्सेस है। हमारे पास जमीन दुनिया की केवल 2% है, उसके हिसाब से हमारी पॉपुलेशन दुनिया की 2% होनी चाहिए थी। पूरी दुनिया की पॉपुलेशन 750 करोड़ है, तो जमीन के हिसाब से हमारी पॉपुलेशन 15 करोड़ होनी चाहिए थी। हमारे पास दुनिया का 4% पानी है, तो हमारी पॉपुलेशन 4% होनी चाहिए थी, इसका मतलब 30 करोड़ होनी चाहिए थी। अगर हम दूसरे देशों से कंपेयर करें, लाइक अमेरिका का एरिया हमसे 3 गुना ज्यादा है, हमारी पॉपुलेशन अमेरिका की 1/3 होनी चाहिए, नहीं 11 करोड़ होनी चाहिए। अगर हम चाइना से कंपेयर करें, चाइना का क्षेत्रफल हमसे 3 गुना ज्यादा है, चाइना की पॉपुलेशन 144 करोड़ है, उसके हिसाब से हमारी पॉपुलेशन 48 करोड़ होनी चाहिए थी। अगर हम अपने रिसोर्सेज को देखें तो हमारे पास मैक्सिमम जो रिसोर्स है वो 50 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन के लिए है बस। अगर ट्रेन का एक डिब्बा है, उसमें 72 सीटें होती है स्लीपर क्लास में, या एसी में मान लीजिए 64 सीटें होती है, तो आप उसमें क्या कर सकते हो? मान लो 72 सीटें आपने 72 लोगों को अलॉट कर दिया, चलो आपने 72 लोगों को वेटिंग में और बैठा लिया, लेकिन एक लिमिट तो ऐसा है, एक लिमिट ऐसी आएगी कि आप एक भी सवारी उसमें एक्स्ट्रा नहीं ले जा पाओगे, आपका पूरी तरीके से फुल हो चुका होगा। अगर आप एक भी आदमी को बैठाने की कोशिश करोगे, फिर वहां पे समस्या फैलेगी। आज की डेट में एक बिस्वा जमीन के लिए मर्डर हो रहा है, छोटी छोटी बातों के लिए लड़ाइयां हो रही है, किसी को शुद्ध दूध नहीं मिल पा रहा, शुद्ध हवा नहीं मिल पा रही है, शुद्ध फल सब्जी नहीं मिल पा रही है। हमारे पास जो टोटल दूध है वो केवल और केवल 30 करोड़ लोगों के लिए है। अगर प्योरिटी के हिसाब से देखें तो ओनली 30 करोड़। हमारी पॉपुलेशन कितनी है? 150 करोड़। मैं 150 क्यों कह रहा हूं? गवर्नमेंट ने कहा है कि 130 करोड़ आधार बन गया है। आधार हमेशा जिंदा लोगों का बनता है। 130 करोड़ आधार वाले, 20% बिना आधार वाले, हमारी पॉपुलेशन हो गई सीधे 150 करोड़। इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूं कानून जरूरी है, जागरूकता
नहीं,
के बल
I
पे
don't understand.
पॉपुलेशन
अश्विनी जी,
कंट्रोल नहीं
इसमें
हो
बहुत
सकता।
सारे figures
इस देश
आपने
में
दे
सबसे
दिए,
ज्यादा जागरूकता हेलमेट
which
के बारे में है कि
may,
हेलमेट पहनने से
require-
जान बचती है।
Okay.
फिर भी आप कानून हटा दीजिए, पुलिस हटा दीजिए, रेड लाइट से कैमरा हटा दीजिए, लोग बिना हेलमेट के घूमेंगे।
नहीं, देखिए, अब यू आर लिंकिंग दिस टू traffic violations. And we just interviewed Mr. Oazy. He says and he argues that the ultimate goal and the purpose is to reduce the fertility rate. Now that is already dropping. If Muslims are being questioned, then it is dropping faster in Muslims than Hindus, thus reducing the gap. Now, if this is happening without a law, Mr. Upadhyay, what is the need of a law? That's the argument.
देखिए संकेत जी, मुझे समझ में नहीं आता कि हम दो हमारे दो कानून बनेगा तो ना उससे प्रजनन बढ़ेगी ना घटेगी। अगर वास्तव में हर व्यक्ति ट्रैफिक रूल फॉलो कर रहा है, फिर तो ट्रैफिक का रूल कितना भी कठोर हो, पेनाल्टी कितनी भी कठोर हो, किसी के ऊपर लगेगी नहीं। अगर कोई मर्डर नहीं कर रहा है तो मर्डर वाला कानून उसके ऊपर लगेगा नहीं। अगर कोई रेप नहीं कर रहा है तो रेप वाला कानून लगेगा नहीं। तो ये कहना कि प्रजनन दर कम हो रही है, अच्छी बात है, कम हो रही होना चाहिए, लेकिन हम दो हमारे दो बनने से प्रजनन दर बढ़ेगी तो नहीं। तो हम दो हमारे दो उसके ऊपर लागू होगा जो 3-4 बच्चे पैदा कर रहे होंगे, जो नहीं पैदा कर रहे हैं उनके ऊपर लागू ही नहीं होगा। जैसे मैं हूं, हम दो हमारे दो, हमारे पूरे परिवार में हम दो हमारे दो, तो आप 5 साल की जेल का कानून बना दो या आप वोटर आईडी छीनने का कानून बना दो, कुछ भी बना दो, फर्क क्या पड़ता है भाई। तो ओवैसी जी एक उसको मुझे लगता है वो सीधे सीधे विरोध करने की बजाय एक नई फिलॉसफी कि टीएफआर कम हो रहा है, एजुकेशन बढ़ाओ। अरे एजुकेशन बढ़ने से अगर पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल होती तो केरल में आज भी सैकड़ों ऐसे परिवार हैं जिनके 10 से 20 बच्चे हैं, जो बाकायदा उसमें कोई नर्स है, कोई इंजीनियर है, कोई डॉक्टर है, कोई मदरसे में टीचर है, कोई कुछ है। अगर वास्तव में पॉपुलेशन क्या बोलते हैं केवल जागरूकता से कम होती तो अब तक आ चुकी होती। 75 साल में जागरूकता की कमी क्या है क्या? भारत में एजुकेशन राइट टू एजुकेशन फंडामेंटल राइट बन चुका है, गांव-गांव स्कूल बन चुके हैं। इसके बावजूद अगर टीएफआर कम नहीं हो रहा है, और फिर से मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूं,
हो रहा है
10 बाई 10 के कमरे में
यू कैन आर्ग्यू कि उसकी स्पीड उतनी नहीं है जितना यू आर डिजायरिंग, बट कम तो हो रहा है।
करेगा वहां दिक्कत आएगी। तो हम इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि भाई आप हम दो हमारे दो बनाइए। इस देश में हमारे पास ओवर क्राउडिंग हो चुकी है।
Okay. Ashwini Upadhyay, many thanks for joining us. Well, this debate is going to go on. Is the government testing waters with these comments? Or does the government think that a law to control population is the only solution? It cannot be the only solution, perhaps one of them. Good night.